What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So what is the state of our economy? How do people really feel? How do voters feel about what's going on with inflation? How do voters feel about gas prices? How do voters feel overall when it comes to our economy? We're going to take a look. This is Harry Enton. We're going to be watching a clip. We'll talk a little bit about it as we watch it. But Harry Enton's going to look at the numbers when it comes to the president's job approval. And this matters. And this matters because generally these midterm elections are a referendum on the president. And we're starting to see a shift. And we already know, historically speaking, Republicans are going to be at a disadvantage when it comes to the House. The likelihood of Democrats taking back control of the House is very strong. But now we're seeing that Democrats also have an opportunity to take back the Senate. So they can take back both the House and the Senate in this midterm election. And a big part of that is because of the president's job approval. So let's go ahead and take a look at this clip. And then after we do that, then we'll talk a little bit more about this. We'll go to the Senate map. We'll take a look at that as well. And so we're going to do all that in this video. But first off, if you guys can do me a favor, please like the video. And if you're watching this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. Okay, so we're going to listen to Harry Enton. He's going to be talking about some of the numbers here when it comes to the president's job approval and the economy. Here we go.
You know, I would say that this is the most troublesome sign that I have seen for the President of the United States and the Republican Party so far. What are we talking about? Well, let's take a look here. Voters on Trump and the cost of living. You go back when he was reelected back in October of 2024. He was beating Kamala Harris by 3 points on the cost of living, right? Look at his...
I mean, this is how the president won. The president won on affordability. He won on the cost of living. That was his key campaign promise, that he was going to bring prices down. He's going to bring the cost of living down when it comes to housing, when it comes to food, when it comes to gas, everything. But he has failed on that, and that is why these numbers are changing. That's why we're seeing this minus 41.
Net approval rating now, woo, down underwater we go. Is net approval at a record low, 41 points below water. You can't win when you're at 41 points below water on the cost of living. Kamala Harris couldn't win. The Democratic Party couldn't win. And I'm here to tell you that there's a better chance that I root for the New York Yankees than Donald Trump and the Republican Party winning when he's 41 points below water.
This was March 12th to March 16th. We could see even more, gas prices rise and prices go up in the coming days and weeks with the Iran war. So this number could get even worse. What about independence?
Yeah, what about independence? You think this 41 points below water is bad? Take a look at independence. It's even worse. I mean, 60 points underwater when it comes to Trump and the cost of living among independents. Again, a record low. You go back to October of 2024. He was winning on this issue over Kamala Harris by 11 points. Look at that switcheroo. That is a 71-point switcheroo in the wrong direction for Donald Trump when we're coming to the cost of living and independence. And this, my dear friends, is just a political nightmare waiting to happen for the Republican Party come the midterm election.
And when you look at that, I mean, we're talking about independence here. And I would say a large group of people, if you ask them if they're a Democrat or Republican, they're going to say no. They're going to say, I'm independent. They might vote for Democrats, they might vote for Republicans, but they're not tied just to one party. And so when you see these numbers coming out when it comes to independence, that should be a warning sign to Republicans that they have a big problem. Because when you see that minus 60, that means that you're going to have a lot of independents, a lot of people that could vote for either party, either not show up to vote in the midterm election, which would be bad for Republicans, or show up to vote and vote against Republicans. And so both scenarios are going to be bad because let's just say you had some Republicans that supported the president and now they're having second thoughts about this, just looking at the economy. They just don't like what's going on. And they say, you know what, I'm just going to sit this one out. Yes, that will hurt Republicans. And then you also have some people that are energized. Let's say they're independents and they voted for a Democrat. And now they see what's going on. And now they're saying, you know what? I was right. Now I'm going to get out and vote because I want to make sure that there's some checks and balances when it comes to the president, because right now the president doesn't have any checks and balances. The president can pretty much do what he wants. And so they want a check on the president. So they're going to vote in the House races. They're going to vote for a Democrat. And then when it comes to the Senate, they're going to vote for a Democrat because they want that balance. And they don't see that balance right now. And so when you see independents moving like that, moving from plus 11 for President Trump now to minus 60 for President Trump, That that alone, Republicans should be very, very nervous about that, because they're not going to win those voters back, because those voters are going to say, we gave you an opportunity, saying we gave the president an opportunity, and look what he's done with this opportunity. We're not going to vote for the people who support him, so the people who are down ballot. And so we'll have to see how that turns out. But that number right there should be very concerning to Republicans.
People really care about the cost of living?
You know, yes, they do, Mr. Berman. They do care about the cost of living. Why was Donald Trump reelected back in 2024? It was the cost of living. It was the number one issue, okay? Number one issue, top election issue, cost of living. 38% of Americans said it was so back in October of 2024. Look now, it's the same percentage. If anything, it's a point higher, though it's within the margin of error. 39%. Simply put, I am saying this loud and proud. You cannot win an election when you are the incumbent party and the top issue is the cost of living, and you're the president of the United States, and your net approval rating on it is 41 points underwater. I mean, you're with Greg Louganis at this point, and with independents, 60 points underwater. What, are you kidding me? You cannot win. If you're the president and you're the Republican Party and you're not addressing this issue, wave adios amigos, goodbye, see you later, your House majority, and may very well be your Senate majority as well.
You're saying it loud, which is very unusual for you.
I know, it's extremely unusual. A lot of coffee this morning.
Let's talk about inflation and what the prediction markets are saying, what direction they see it going forward.
Yeah, okay. You talk about 60 points underwater. You talk about 41 points underwater overall. You know, when we're talking about what the prediction markets, Kalshi prediction markets have, Chance March's CPI year over year is above February's 2.4%. It's going in the wrong direction. 95% chance that inflation rises in the month of March. So you got the number one issue that is killing the incumbent party, killing the president right now, and it is going in the wrong direction with gas prices going higher. Just, you know, I'm just going to lay back on my Yiddish. Oy vey. Oy vey.
Yeah, no, the political cost of this could be going up soon. Harriet, and thank you very much for this.
Thank you. I'm going to go get some more cappuccino right now.
You need it, clearly.
I know.
And that last part that he talked about, we're talking about inflation. Yes, inflation will rise. Gas prices alone are going to bring inflation up. And so we're going to see the CPI numbers. We'll get it. I think it's the second week of April, and that will be for March. But those numbers are going to jump from that 2.4%. We might even see it at like 3%. It might go really high, really fast. And first, we're going to see gas prices increase, and then we're going to see food prices increase. And so inflation for April will probably be higher than inflation for March. And so we're going to have to just follow and see where it goes. But I just wanted to show you this clip. I thought it was pretty interesting just to see some of these numbers. And when we look at the Senate map, basically right now we're looking at Democrats and independents at 47, Republicans at 53. The reason why Republicans are very nervous about this midterm election when it comes to the Senate, the House there, I think most politicians right now and even experts are looking at the House and saying, you know what? Democrats are probably going to take back control of the House. They only need to net 3 seats. And right now, it's very likely that they'll be able to net those 3 seats to take back control of the House. We just don't know how many seats they're going to win. They could win 40 seats or more, and that would be a blue wave. But I think most people are anticipating that Democrats will take back the House. Now, when it comes to the Senate, it's going to be a lot harder for Democrats to take back the Senate. But now there's a pathway. And that's the reason why Republicans are looking at this and saying, you know, we might lose the House and the Senate in one midterm election. And I did a video yesterday where I was talking about different tiers. So tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. If you guys didn't check that video out, I'll have a link at the end of this video so you can check it out. But when it comes to tiers, we're looking at the first tier. I'm looking at these 3 different states here. The first tier is North Carolina going to a Democrat, Maine going to Democrats, and Alaska going to Democrats. That's the first tier. These are the states that I think are most likely to flip. And then when we look in a little bit deeper, and remember, when it comes to the Senate, Democrats need to net 4 seats. So if they've already netted these 3 seats, let's say they win North Carolina, Maine, and Alaska, now we're looking at one more state that they need to net in order to take back control of the Senate. And I think the real possibilities here is Ohio and Texas. And so if they can win either Ohio or Texas, they will take back control of the Senate. Now, I should also mention that they need to hold seats. So they can't lose in Georgia. They need to win in Georgia. They need to win in Michigan. They need to win in New Hampshire. They need to win in Minnesota. These are states that they'll probably be able to hold. But they need to hold those states and then net 4 states. And if they can win Ohio or win Texas, that'll give them the 4th state. And they will take back control because Democrats would have 51, Republicans would have 49, and Democrats would take back control of the Senate. And so that is why Republicans are nervous right now. If you don't think Republicans are nervous, listen to Lindsey Graham talking about the future when it comes to midterms. He's also talking about the conflict in Iran, but when he starts talking about the elections in 2026, the midterm election, just listen to how he's talking. And that'll tell you everything that you need to know. Now, he is running for re-election, and he is trying to fundraise, so maybe he's being a little over dramatic, but he seems very concerned. Tim Scott, I listen to him. He seems very concerned. So you have Republicans that are senators right now that are very concerned with the future. And so we'll have to see how this all plays out, but I want to know what you guys think. Do you think Democrats have a chance of taking back the Senate? And what do you think that chance looks like? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more. And remember, stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.